Hello students, today in this video we'll be revising our chapter number 10, tenses and their uses 1, that is present tense. So after going through this video, you'll be able to understand what is a tense and its different forms. You will be able to identify present indefinite tense and present continuous tense. You'll be able to convert an affirmative sentence into negative, interrogative, negative forms and identify stative verbs as well. So the tenses are of three types: present tense, past tense and future tense. It is important not to mix up time and tenses. Time is the same for everybody, past, present and future. But the tenses of verbs do not always fit into the past, present and future. What I want to say is, see this example: if it rains, I shall stay at home. Now, both the verbs rain and shall stay refer to future time. But the first verb is in the simple present tense. It is a conditional clause beginning with if. So in this statement, though we are referring to future time, we are using both present tense and future tense in the same sentence. So always keep in mind, time and tense are different. Let's begin with the present tense. As we know that present tense is divided into present indefinite tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense and present perfect continuous tense. So we are going to start with simple present or the present indefinite tense. So structure for the affirmative sentence in simple present tense is subject plus present form of the verb plus object. Now look at the sentences in the following table. I, subject, learn, verb plus object, that is my lessons. I learn my lessons. The boys play cricket. So please note that S or ES is added to the first form of the verb when the subject is in the third person and of singular number, that is with he, she, it or with the singular nouns. I hope you have understood the form or structure of affirmative sentences. Now let's move on to the interrogative sentences. We know that interrogative sentences are the sentences in which a question is asked. So in such a case, we always begin with helping verb. Now, in case of simple present tense, helping verbs used are do or does. With third person singular pronoun or a singular noun, we use does, and with rest, we use do. So the form for the same is starting with do or does, followed by subject plus present form of the verb plus object, followed by the question mark. Please do not forget to put question mark at the end in case of interrogative sentence. For example, do you know me? Question mark. Does he visit the playground daily? Why does she weep? Now, coming up to the negative sentence. A negative sentence includes the word not in it. So, the form or structure for the same is subject plus do not or does not, followed by present form of the verb plus object. For example, you do not know me. He does not visit the playground daily. So, interrogative negative sentences. I have already told you interrogative sentences begin with helping verb and negative sentences include the word not. So, the structure for interrogative negative sentence: do or does plus subject plus not plus first form of the verb, that is the present form of the verb plus object followed by question mark. For example, do you not like this book? Does she not sing well? Now let us revise how to convert affirmative sentences into negative, interrogative and interrogative negative sentences. I like chocolate. This is in affirmative form. Now in order to make it negative, we need a helping verb, and as I have told you that in simple present tense, helping verbs are do or does, and in case of I, we use do. So to make it negative, we will first add do in this sentence, as in I do like chocolates. So now converting into negative, I do not like chocolates. Interrogative begin with the helping verb. So do I like chocolates? Question mark. Interrogative negative, do I not like chocolates? Let us take one more example. I am a doctor. I am not a doctor. Am I a doctor? Am I not a doctor? I hope you have understood all the conversions. Now let us discuss the uses of simple present tense. So number 1 on the list is to express a habitual action, habit or custom. So for example, I get up early morning at 6 o'clock. I always speak the truth. My watch gives good time. The post office opens at 10 o'clock. Number 2 on the list is to express universal truth for general truth and situations or facts which are true at all times. For example, 2 and 2 make 4. So this statement is stating a fact. The earth moves round the sun. We are talking about heavenly bodies, that is universal truth. Honesty is the best policy. It is a saying, so we are going to use simple present tense. So next on the list is to make general statements indicating the present period. For example, people speak Hindi all over India. She speaks English better than she writes it. He lives at a village. So in all these 3 cases we are talking about, or we are just giving general statement which are indicating the present period. So next on the list is to indicate a future event which is part of a plan or arrangement. Now students, we know that future events are expressed in future tense using will or shall, but future can also be expressed using simple present tense. For example, the college reopens next week. The school starts again on April 5th. In exclamatory sentences beginning with here and there to express what is actually taking place in the present. For example, here comes the train. There she goes. So next on the list is to express situation or a fact that is permanent. This road leads to Amritsar. Ludhiana stands on the bank of the Satluj. Next on the list is to narrate different actions taking place at time of speaking. For example,
I take 2 cups of flour, strain it and put it in a bowl.
So here in this situation, the person is speaking as well as narrating what he is actually doing. So next on the list is to describe past events in order to make the description seem more vivid or real. For example, Hemu's army now advances and the bloody battle commences. So it's a dramatic way to speak. Moreover, this type of statement is also called historic truth. So in case of historic truth, we generally prefer to use simple present tense. So next on the list is to express things that happen in a flash in our mind. Students, it means which comes to your mind for a moment and you speak. For example, I rely on your support. I believe these statements. In dramatic narratives, let's read these lines based on William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. When the curtain rises, Antony enters with Caesar's body. There's peace and silence. Antony delivers his historic speech and turns the mob against the conspirators. So, in case you have to narrate any incident in a dramatic manner, simple present tense is used. To quote authors, whether living or dead. For example, Keats says, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Shakespeare says, "Some are born great, others achieve greatness." In conditional sentences having two parts. Students, we very well know that conditional sentences start with words like if, unless, provided that, etc. In such cases, the conditional clause having condition is in simple present tense, and the other part, that is main clause, is in simple future tense. For example, he will come if I invite him. Now, if I invite him is a conditional clause, so the verb is in simple present tense, and this he will come is main clause, so it's in simple future tense. Similarly, we shall not play cricket if it rains. So if it rains, conditional sentence, conditional clause. So rains, that is verb, is in simple present, and in main clause verb is in simple future, shall not play. I hope that you are now well acquainted with simple present tense. Now let's begin with present continuous tense. Present continuous tense tells us that the action is going on at the time of speaking, and helping verbs used here are is, am or are. Now the affirmative sentence, we have to write subject first, followed by helping verb, is, am or are, plus present form of the verb, plus ing, plus object. For example, the train is running at full speed. I am revising my lessons. Now coming to interrogative sentences. As discussed earlier, these are sentences in question form, and we have to begin with helping verb. So with I, we use am in case of present continuous tense. So the structure for the same is helping verb, is, am or are, plus subject, plus present form of the verb, plus ing, plus object, followed by question mark. For example, am I wasting my time in gossip? Are they playing in the park? So, coming up to negative sentence, structure for the same is subject plus helping verb, that is, am or are, plus not, plus present participle form of the verb, that is first form of the verb, plus ing, plus object. So, for example, I am not going home today. They are not flying kites. So now coming up to interrogative negative sentences. So form for the same is helping verb, that is, am or are, plus subject, plus not, plus present form of the verb, plus ing, plus object, followed by question mark. For example, am I not going home today? So now let us revise how to convert affirmative sentences into negative, interrogative and interrogative negative sentences. I am going to school, affirmative sentence. Making it negative, we have to add not. So I am not going to school. Interrogative, start with a helping verb. So am I going to school? Question mark. Interrogative negative, am I not going to school? Question mark. Let's take one more example. The dog is barking. The dog is not barking. Is the dog barking? Is the dog not barking? I hope you have understood all the conversions of present continuous tense. Now let's have a quick review on the uses of present continuous tense. To describe an action in progress and the continuity of the action. For example, I am eating my lunch now. Someone is knocking at the door. So next on the list is to describe an action in progress but not necessarily at the time of speaking. It shows that action is in progress but actual state of the action is not clear. As in, he is writing a book on English grammar. He is writing a book but not necessarily at the time of speaking. So similarly, we are still importing medicines from abroad. Okay, next on the list is planned future actions. Again, students, planned future actions, we can denote it in both ways, either in future tense or in present tense. For example, I am meeting my sister tomorrow. We are going to Darjeeling next year. So next on the list is repeated action. So some people are habitual of doing things. So as far as their actions are concerned, we generally use present continuous tense to denote those actions. For example, she is always making excuses. They are regularly arguing about something or the other. So sometimes we come across both the simple present tense and present continuous tense in the same sentence. So when two actions are happening at the same time, in the present tense, we use present continuous tense for the action that started before the one and continues after it has finished. So the action that interrupts the continuing action needs to be in simple present tense. As in, the phone always rings when we are having dinner. So they are already having dinner. So it happened first, and the action which interrupts their dinner is a ring of phone. So rings is in simple present tense and are having in present continuous tense. So similarly, he always speaks when he is eating. Students, there are few verbs which are not normally used in continuous tense. Let us discuss about those. So there are some words which are not normally used in the continuous form. Such verbs are called stative verbs. That is, those verbs which refer to states, experiences, condition, etc. rather than to actions. Stative verbs usually occur in simple form in all tenses. So verb of thinking or some mental activity are think, remember, believe, know, understand, imagine, suppose, consider, agree, trust, forget, mean, mind, etc. For example, I suppose someone has come. So verbs of emotion for verbs expressing feeling or state of mind are love, hate, wish, hope, feel, desire, want, like, prefer, refuse, etc. Normally, we don't say I am loving you. We say I love you. So verbs of appearing are appear, seem, look, etc. For example, Rohini appears happy. Rohan seems tired today. Verbs of possession are own, possess, belong to, etc. For example, Raj owns a beautiful house. Now students, the stative verbs are used in the simple present tense. They may be used sometimes in the continuous tense with the change of meaning. For example, I am thinking of going to Goa. So now here thinking of means considering the idea of. So the next example is Mohini is tasting pudding. So tasting here shows that it is showing the action of tasting. Okay. Now if you want to tell about the taste of something, we say sugar tastes sweet. not sugar is tasting sweet, right? So students, today we have done simple present tense and present continuous tense. I hope you have understood. So your homework for today is to solve assignment number 1, part E, chapter 1, the tenses, from your ICSE language skills grammar book. Thank you.